ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be in a special league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever since. I think the things I like the most about the ISCA is it's a developmental league, but it's also a league that's got some veteran drivers. And I think really what I was looking to do was try to surround myself with some people to better my talent, my skill, and my craft. And that's one thing the ISCA has really delivered. It's got great quality drivers. You learn how to race in close quarters around some of these other people. And I think the other thing, when you do look at the developmental side, once I joined the ISCA, my I rating has soared, my safety rating is better than it's ever been. And it's also really great to see drivers that join our league, really excel over time, some of which stay with the league and some that maybe move on to some bigger things, which is really exciting. We have a great history of developing drivers. We have a great alumni list. But I just really enjoy, participating in the league and just continue to get better each week that goes by. Yeah, the competition in the ISCA is awesome. I think a lot of us talk about it, each week of just how blessed we are to have such a high level of driving capabilities and just a quality group of drivers overall. And I think that's just still, I think the thing I like the most about the ISCA. You build a lot of friendships, a lot of camaraderie. We're really competitive on Thursday and Saturday nights, but it's really fun also after the race to kind of review the race start to finish. And we do a lot of coaching about what's working, what's not working. Not saying we give away all of our secrets, but I think anyone that joins it, there's a common theme. They get better each week, their I rating goes up. We see them in strength of field races over time, week in, week out. And that's just something that's really fun. Even though we compete, we really appreciate the league we participate in. And I think in most cases, we're highly competitive with some of the best and cleanest drivers on the service. And if you like long green flag runs, we don't have a lot of cautions in our races. We tend to have green flag pit stops. But those are just some things that I really enjoy about the league the most, is the quality of the competition, the lack of cautions, and just the long runs that really leads to some really awesome racing. Yeah, I think people that should join the ISCA are people like myself. When I go back a few years ago and I was really looking to up my game and get involved in open setup league racing, for so long I just wasn't involved in that because I just didn't, I didn't seek it out, but I really didn't also know how to get started. And once I started doing research, it was a really easy choice that the ICA was a place I really wanted to be and get involved with. And all those things I talked about earlier have happened to me, from improving I rating, improving my skill. And, I'm someone that I really enjoy the ICA. I'll probably stay there, but don't think that, if you're coming to the ICA, that it's something long-term. That in some cases you can find a long-term home like a lot of us, but we develop drivers, and ultimately we'd like to see our drivers participate for a period of time and hopefully move their way up the ranks, whether that be into Road to Pro or Contender Series, or hopefully get to the Coke Series. That's really the goal of what we want to be, is an established league with great drivers, but also a league that's going to develop drivers into bigger and better things.
Hello and welcome to the ISCA Thursday Cup Series here as we have a presentation for the Farmers Insurance 250 at Dover Motor Speedway. The Monster Mile, this mile and a half, or mile track I should say, has eaten up plenty of race cars in its past, present, and of course I think in its future as well. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and I'm joined in the booth by none other than Big Al. How are you doing tonight, Big Al? Ready to see the Monster get some people?
Ready to see Miles make his appearance here. A lot of guys going to be out here tonight, Brian. It looks like we got a full house here. I think we got 20 drivers that are going to be in this field here tonight. And I tell you what, it is not going to be short of excitement, as this track at Dover never disappoints. It's going to be a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of passing, and possibly a couple wrecks.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be the case for sure. I mean, of course, they don't call this miles, this place the Monster Mile for no reason. I mean, it's surrounded by concrete as well. That's kind of been a talking point I've kind of seen all week long here at this racetrack. I mean, you see there's, the track surface is kind of wide, but it is a concrete track, and if you go off of it, either way, if you're loose, if you're tight, no matter what, you're hitting a wall. Go ahead.
And there is that nice little dip that you have to contend with, I do believe, coming off of turn 4. That little dip right there will send you a little bit sideways. So a little throttle management is going to have to be in play here tonight.
100%. Of course, looking at the race facts here for this evening's event, Farmers Insurance graciously sponsoring this 250-lap race. Of course, stages are 50 and 115. Of course, race going to be ending at lap 250. Could actually get extended. We'll have to wait and see how that all turns out. 4 sets of tires going to be down in the pits, 5 altogether, including the one he's going to start with. Of course, tires are going to be, I say, probably the most valuable resource these guys are going to have here tonight. Of course, fuel, 90 laps, so, I mean, these guys will be able to make it quite the distance. But I think before they reach that 90-lap period, I think tires are going to be what brings these guys down pit road more than anything.
Always, always, always. These concrete tracks do one thing consistently, and that is eat tires.
100%. And we'll take a look at the points here in just a moment. I do want to point out to everybody, yes, it is not Saturday. Chris Severa is going to be competing here in tonight's event. And this has been somewhat of a dream of ours, Big Al, to see Severa come in here and tackle these Thursday drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be another level of competition, not just for him, but for us as well.
Sounds like we got a dog that's pretty excited about the race here tonight. Brandon Pasalaco, though, looking at the Cup Series points, is at the top of the board with 2 wins. He's got 309 points. Only 12 points separate him and Brian Johnson. Now, all season long in this Thursday series, Brian Johnson and Brandon Pasalaco, they've been the ones that really have been battling each other nonstop. They seem like they have a magnet for each other and are always right there, very close when it comes to speed. Of course, Scott Naslin sits in third. He's the other winner here in this series. 4th place, Ryan Strunk. He has had a fantastic season thus far, has been very consistent, has done a lot better, I think, on saving tires. Kenny Powell sits in 5th right now. Josh Schaffner sits in 6th. Of course, he's been really fast here this week. I've watched him in a number of officials, and he has been just blazing quick and really good on the long run, and that's what this track really requires. Of course, Chris Johnson, I don't know if I see him in the field here. So he might be losing some points. Of course, Shane Parrish sits in 8th. He is out there in competition, so he could gain some points here. Randy Mullins always is quick as well. He sits 9th. J.C. Evans, I do believe last week had one of his best finishes we've probably ever seen. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that 9 machine. Let's take a quick look at the Super Point. And just want to clarify, of course, the Cup Series points follows a 13-week schedule, while the Super Cup points follows the whole NASCAR schedule. So it is much longer, 36 some odd races. Of course, Brandon Pasalaco is the leader of both point standings. He has 2 wins in this series, or in this standings as well. Of course, Brian Johnson second as well on this one. So they both have 2 wins apiece, but of course, Pasalaco has been more consistent. He has 8 top 5s versus Brian Johnson 6. Scott Naslin, 3rd again here in the Super Cup Series. Of course, he has that 1 win and has been very consistent with, I do believe, 3 top 5s so far, but quite a big jump up from points there from 1st to 3rd. Kenny Powell sits in 4th place, 5th place Ryan Strunk. Josh Schaffner with 1 win in 6th. Chris Johnson in 7th. Greg Wachinski in 8th. 9th place Shane Parrish. Jose Acosta in 10th. So a lot of those points in the Super Cup look very close to what we see in the Cup.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is definitely going to mix it up a lot a bit, having Chris Severa now actually making his appearance here on the Thursday night series. Brian, I'm getting pretty pumped up as we're getting ready to get qualified and down to an end in Going to have to take a step away for that national anthem, and we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with our grid in tonight's race.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We got the grid set for this evening's action. And, of course, Patrick Gitter is going to qualify on the pole with Shane Parrish starting in second place. Third place going to be Brandon Passalacqua with Jose Acosta starting in fourth. Fifth place going to be Scott Naslin with J.C. Evans starting sixth. Seventh place, Randy Mullins with Chris Severa in eighth. Ninth place, John Schaffner. In 10th place, Greg Wachinski.
That's going to put Darian Mullins in 11th, Mark Sanchez 12th. Matt DeCiani is in 13th with Dave Fuge Jr. in 14th. Paul starts 15th. Brian Johnson's on his outside in 16th. 17th place shows Paul Olsen and Jordan Sellers. 18th place is Alexander Carr. 19th place is Ryan Strunk.
And, of course, green flag is back out, so we started a little bit late there on the grid, and that is 100% my fault. I ran an extra commercial there. Of course, Patrick Gitter, though, already separating out to a monster lead already. And look at that, already out to 0.6 of a second. Track position is going to be really important here tonight, Big Al. Brandon Passalacqua, though, is able to secure that second-place position at the moment.
Yeah, Gitter's definitely going to get her done. That's going to be what he's going to try to do, is get out front, Brian, and stay away from all of the melee that's going to be behind him. Remember, like I said, this track is pretty treacherous, especially once those tires get worn out a little bit. And we'll be watching to see just how much of an effect it has on the driver's lap times as this race progresses.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have a big effect. As concrete. I mean, you just can't get away from that. Whether you're at Nashville Super Speedway, you're at Bristol. At these concrete tracks, you definitely burn up a lot of tires. Here comes, I do believe, J.C. Evans to the inside of Jose Acosta for that sixth-place position.
Jordan Sellers looks like he might have started from the pits here. That's going to be a little bit of a contention as the leaders are slowly going to be encroaching upon him. Going to be too wide here back in the pack as Jose Acosta tries to figure out exactly where he wants to be. Hit the wall a little bit there, kind of checked up Chris Severa, newcomer here to the Thursday Night Series.
Yeah, so easy to get in that wall here at Dover. I mean, of course, you talked about those kind of a change in banking off the corners, and that can really upset the race car. Kenny Powell, I believe, trying to make something happen for that 12th place position. He tries to get under. Yeah, a lot of battling going on.
Lots of battling going on, and what's funny is we still got a lot of racing left to do here. Drivers are going to have to be cognizant of where they're at, because this racetrack, although it seems like it's pretty wide, Brian, those cars get pretty sporty there, especially coming off of turn 4.
There goes Chris Severa. He gets right by Jose Acosta, followed by Matt DeCiani. Of course, he's going to move up to the 8th position. Of course, DeCiani up to 9th. DeCiani, I think, was the fastest in practice, hitting a 22.3, so I'm surprised he didn't qualify better. But, of course, very easy to make mistakes here. We've got a little bit of a stack up there. Scott Naslin
big
slow.
problems.
And look at that, Chris Severa to the wall.
Yeah, Chris Severa actually had a double whammy there. He got into Naslin and he got into the wall. So I do believe that car is going to be affected on both fronts, the right and the left, Brian. He's probably toothless, I guess you'd say.
Let's take a look back at this and see exactly what happened to Naslin. We see I do believe, the 54 of Randy Mullins. Maybe a little bit of contact. Yeah, it's a little bit of a bump in the center of the corner, sent Naslin around. And, of course, he slows. Chris Severa comes up, and there was just not enough room for Severa to make that move.
Could have been a lot worse, though, Brian. Looks like he did get away pretty clean.
Yeah, I mean, I think Randy Mullins, just a little bit of aggressiveness, a little bit of, I'd say, impatientness, if you will. But Patrick Gitter, though, he's in prime position right now, already out to 1.3 seconds of a lead over Brandon Passalacqua. Of course, Passalacqua has about a second on Shane Parrish at the moment.
Speaking of seconds, Jordan Sellers definitely feeling pretty good here as he is able to get a little bit of breathing room between himself and the 21 of Patrick Gitter, because Gitter is definitely getting her done as he is definitely leading this field at a blistering pace.
Yeah, he's definitely turning some really good laps. One of the fastest laps last time by. 23.008. Only person that was able to match that lap time was Josh Schaffner.
Ooh, Josh Schaffner, the Iceman, we have dubbed him. Now, Josh is the guy that we're definitely going to be watching, especially a bit later on. Maybe not as early because this is one of those tracks. This is an endurance race. 250 laps we got ahead of ourselves right now. We're only on lap 12. This stage isn't even over until lap 50. So guys are definitely going to have to be starting to pace themselves, trying to figure out exactly how long they can make those good years last.
And you look at Josh Hoffner, he's in a little bit of a different paint scheme. You're used to seeing him in the green machine, but it looks like he has changed to red and white. So definitely interesting to see that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be watching that paint scheme as well. So what are your thoughts on Chris Severa actually coming over to the Thursday League? You think that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, I definitely think it's a great thing. I mean, I think it's going to take a little bit of possibly, growing pains, if you will, just considering he's used to racing with that Saturday bunch of guys. And a lot of drivers that compete in this series don't race on Saturday. So he's going to definitely have to get used to it. A lot of these drivers are going to have to get used to him as well. We know Severa can be quite aggressive.
Yeah, definitely a different group, man, between the Saturday and the Thursday League. Same series, but just totally different, different personalities, if you will. But I think Chris Severa's he's gonna get in here, and I think he's gonna fit in quite well. I'm just excited to see how he is, where he's gonna land in the field, if you will.
Yeah, of course, he's definitely not having the best start to his Thursday career at the moment, just considering with that contact on the wall. This is a track that, a lot of times when you're exiting these corners, that wall comes up so fast and it can cause quite a bit of damage, especially with this new damage model that we've been seeing here as of late. These cars are a lot more vulnerable to damage than they were, I think, in previous times. Of course, Schaffner just made the pass on J.C. Evans. Here comes Matt DeCiani. He's going to move up into the top 5.
And speaking of moving, looks like Jose is actually moving back just a little bit. The one thing about that wall, though, Brian, it don't move. I mean, it is definitely a fixture on the race surface. So if the cars do make contact with it, we'll definitely be able to explore just the effects the new damage model is going to have on that, as Kenny Powell is slowly getting kind of held up a little bit by Darren Mullins as these guys are trying to make their way around, just as the tires were, you're just not able to cut and make those corners as precise as once you're on fresh good news.
Yeah, you don't want to have a tight race car here as well. I mean, this is a track that you don't want to have too loose of a race car either, so it's so hard to nail the balance at a track like this. It's very fast through the corners. I mean, these guys are going 150 so mile an hour through the middle of the corner, and of course about 170 so on the straightaways. Getting around this track at breakneck pace, and Kenny Powell, of course, we're looking through his cockpit camera. You can kind of see what these guys are having to deal with, how big the bump is out of these corners as well.
And another thing that really doesn't do this track any justice, and that is the ease that the 21 of Patrick Gitter is getting around this track at. I mean, he is literally got himself almost a 2.5 second lead over second place, Brian. He is literally on his own glide path, his own glide slope. I mean, he is slowly reeling in the 55 of Jordan Sellers. I mean, this guy, I don't know, man. I just think contact right there, big trouble. Got a car into the wall. Caution not out just yet.
Who is the car, Big Al?
I think Scott Naslin in the 22 is actually just taking himself an unfortunate run.
Take a look here and see exactly what happened here to Scott Naslin. Of course, we do have some side-by-side right in front of them. You see Shane Parrish and J.C. Evans. I think this could have led to maybe something going wrong. Oh, wow. He got loose off the corner, I do believe.
Yeah, he has smoked that Chevrolet, Brian. He definitely has a repairs required flag, so he will be coming down pit road. We'll be monitoring this situation. He has not yet made it.
Yeah, this is a hard lick. Yeah, a little bit of net code there with the 9 of J.C. Evans. Sent him into the inside wall and probably definitely broke that left front toe link. And it's going to be difficult to get to pit road here. I mean, it looks like he's having problems turning the machine, so he wasn't able to get to pit road.
Oh, and that's just going to be unfortunate. Now, if he doesn't take a tow, that definitely could possibly bring out a caution. Oh, he did make it in. Okay, so
Yeah,
he
we were
is
taking a
down
look at the
pit road.
replay there. We were looking at the replay there. But yeah, loving what I'm seeing though from Patrick Gitter. You were kind of talking about it before we were looking at that accident. He is running the fastest laps on the racetrack here in this 25 lap range. So he seems like he's got the speed as he comes up to the, I do believe, 55 of Jordan Sailors, a new driver we haven't seen a whole lot of, as he is going to be now going a lap down. Of course, Paul Olson probably going to be the next one on the docket.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to make your introductions here to the ISCA. And I'm going to tell you, if it weren't for the phenomenal efforts put on here by our leader, Patrick Gitter, Sailors would not be going a lap down. This is something that does not, you don't see this. This doesn't happen here on Thursdays, Brian.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate there for Scott Naslin. And, of course, we will have a caution that'll come out at the end of stage one that'll possibly get Jordan Sailors back into the battle, though. But still, looks like that car not quite as good on the long run as what these guys need. Shane Parrish, though, all over the back of Matt DeCiani right now. Parrish has been showing a significant amount of speed the last several weeks. And looks like he's going to try to see if he can't move his way up the board. He's going to be successful. Slips right on by DeCiani.
Now, here's the deal. So where we're at right now, we've added, and we're just over halfway through this stage, but we've added about a second to the time. So that lets you know to fall off. It is going to be something that's going to be great for some drivers. It's a lot greater than it is for other drivers. J.C. Evans, for example, his best lap was a 22.969. Now he's running 24.253.
Oh, and look at this. Look at Severa, 3 wide almost. Oh, Severa almost gets up into DeCiani. Oh, this is scary right here. Oh, contact on the straightaway as Severa tries to move up into the top 5 here. I bet DeCiani not too happy about that.
He's definitely making his presence known, if anything. If not felt, he's definitely making it known.
I mean, that's Chris Severa for you. I mean, he's gonna make that move when other people probably wouldn't. And a lot of times it works out for him. I mean, he is one of the winningest drivers in the ISCA Saturday series, at least. Now he's making his, like you said, he's making his stamp here on Thursday. He's got damage too, so he's showing a lot of pace still.
Yeah, I don't think his damage was that significant, but I'm going to say I don't think the issue is going to come from the front of the pack. I think the issue is going to come from the back of the pack, where right now Severa getting around Randy Mullins in the 54 car. Now that's going to put him up into 5th place. Severa started all the way back in 8th, so that right now is Josh Schaffner, though, who started in 9th, is in 3rd. He is our current biggest.
Another 3 wide condition here is Jordan Sailor. I do believe getting passed by Schaffner. Schaffner was really catching up to Brandon Pasolacco, but caught up the lap traffic, and that put him under fire from Shane Parrish.
Yeah, that could be a big whoops right there.
A lot of stuff could go wrong here.
Still got a long way to go, too, before this stage is in the books.
Yeah, we definitely do. I do believe version on 16 laps to go here in just a lap or so. Brian Johnson, another one that's been moving quite quickly through the field. As he is right there on, I do believe, Greg Wachinski. Wachinski rocking a little bit of a different paint as well. I think Randy Mullins is starting to struggle on the long run, though.
Oh, this would be a lot of drivers struggling on the long run. We've got drivers struggling right now currently. They just have not manifested themselves. But if we just start to take a closer look at the field, we'll definitely see who they are.
Yeah, I think Randy Mullins is one of them. I mean, Jose Acosta was also one of them.
Jose.
Close towards the front. Now he's back outside the top 10.
He's lost
J.C. Evans as well.
So
Evans
far.
started up in, I do believe, 6th place. He's back to 15th now.
Yeah, he has lost 10 places from where he started. So he definitely is our biggest loser here so far. Matt DeCiani, though, still doing very well. Brian Johnson also, got to give him kudos. He is up 9 spots. He started this thing in 16th. Now he finds himself in 7th.
Also got to talk about Shane Parrish. He got by Josh Schaffner just now and is now up into third position. He's turning the fastest laps on the racetrack right now, 23.887. He's faster than the leader by a tenth.
Yeah, Brian Johnson and Matt DeCiani both just got by Greg Wachinski. Looks like Greg might have just got a hold of a big old dum-dum, and I don't think he is liking the taste of it.
Yeah, here comes, Brian Johnson's going to be seeing if he can't possibly get by DeCiani. You also see Kenny Powell, I do believe, also trying to make his way by some drivers as well. See, he's right there behind Wachinski. Just got by, I do believe, the lap down car of Jordan Sailors.
Yeah, Sailor's definitely not he's not having fun. That's all I'm going to say about it. The only other way that you could describe the way he is driving right now is you see Paul Olsen also fall to the leader. And I think Ryan Strunk could possibly also find himself being a victim of that lead lap car. And, man, that would be something that if Patrick Gitter is able to put at least 3 cars a lap down here in that first stage, Brian, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's definitely, I'd say, a big statement for how fast that race car is. But then again, I mean, you're looking at Brandon Pasolaco. I mean, he's catching up to that 21. So I'm not sure what's going on here. I think that, of course, we're going to have longer runs, even in stage number 2. I mean, that one goes to 115. So we're really going to get to go into that unknown land, if you will, when it comes to how much the tires are going to wear, and even more. So I'd say in that final stage. We are closing in on the conclusion of stage number 1. I do believe next time by 8 laps to go. And that's what it's all going to be about, the long run. That's why I think a lot of these drivers are like, yeah, let Gitter go ahead and go up there and run away. But I think that their main priority is I want to catch him later. I mean, I want him to, run away and burn his stuff up. We've seen that time and time again in the ISCA. But Patrick Gitter, I think he's fast enough that he might be able to hold off these guys. But if he's burning stuff up, that's one thing when you're out front, you're not near anybody, you don't have anybody to really reference how much you're burning your tires up.
I mean, he's still turned the fastest lap on the race surface, so there's something to be said about that. So even though he's slowing down, he's still faster than everybody else. I think it just goes to show us collectively how much this track is going to be detrimental to the tires. I mean, right now, you know, just the name of Goodyear, I think you just want to try to have a good year when it comes to you know what I mean? I just don't think I think it's going to be a bunch of bad years in there with some good months.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you another driver's been really well right now, Kenny Powell. He's now up into 7th place, just got by DeCiani. Him and Wachinski able to get by DeCiani. They're having a pretty good day, decent day, and that's why I think Kenny, he's been up in the top 3 in points, and, you know, and of course is a previous champion as well. So it's all by consistency, and I think he's putting on a consistent show right now.
Up 8 places, so that's definitely got him in the top 10. Is going to be the recipient of at least a couple of stage points here. Is all right now. He is in 7th place. Matt DeCiani seems to be falling back here just a little bit. But this is the time. It's past go time right now. This is the time where you got to try to maintain where you're at, Brian, because this stage is going to be in the books here momentarily. Chris Rivera still doing everything he can. He's be pulling up onto the back of his GG teammate, Josh Schaffner, trying to get himself even higher up on the rung, if you will. Well, higher up on the ladder, trying to advance another rung.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he might be able to get Schaffner here, of course. We'll have to wait and see. I know Josh Schaffner and Chris Severa, they don't really cut each other much slack, but it looks like Severa makes that look easy. He gets right by Schaffner, now is in 4th position as we're coming up on 2 laps to go here in the stage.
And it looks like Greg Wachinski, reeling in his G&G teammate of Kenny Powell, not giving him much slack either.
Not at all, and that's one thing about the G&G team. We talk about it a lot. They don't cut each other any slack. They race each other hard, and one thing about it all season long, I mean, I even talked to Greg a little bit before the race, and he was like, "You keep talking about me and Kenny, how we're always having accidents together, and we always have history." I'm like, "Well, that's because it's true. You guys have a magnet for each other for some reason, and it's even evident right now. Is 7th and 8th, and they're not separated. They're less than a second away from one another."
Yeah, Jordan Sailors looks like he actually did manually disconnect. So he will be down and out as this stage is shortly getting ready to be in the books here, Brian.
It definitely is. I do believe for the final time, Patrick Gitter is going to be crossing the start-finish line. Of course, we've got to wait for the 10th place car of Randy Mullins, who's about 14 seconds back from him, to cross the line before the caution flag does fly for stage 1. Caution should be coming out now, and there it is.
Wow, what a stage.
100%. Patrick Gitter comes home with the stage 1 victory. Shane Parrish in second, Brandon Pasalacqua third, Chris Severa fourth, Josh Schaffner fifth, Brian Johnson sixth, Kenny Powell seventh, Greg Wachinski eighth, Darren Mullins in ninth, and Randy Mullins in 10th place. So look at that, father and son in 9th and 10th. Definitely
got to feel pretty good for those. Yeah, they got to feel pretty good for those, man. And unfortunately, it looks like we had at least 3 cars that were a lap down. We're going to take a step away, get a word from our sponsors, and looks like we'll be back with Patrick Gitter. Right,
Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy, and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
All righty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe we're going to be joined in the booth by our Stage 1 winner, Patrick Gitter. Definitely, Big Al, are you moving him? Patrick, do you read us? I was wondering what was going on. He kept bouncing back and forth between the channels there. I think it must have been Discord acting up on us. But great job on stage 1. Of course, you seem like you got a really good long-run car. What is the priority here? Do you think it's track position? Yeah, it's going to definitely be the key. I noticed a little bit, in that, I'd say 40-plus lap run, Brandon Pasalacqua and Shane Parrish were starting to catch you a little bit. What are you going to do? Did you make any adjustments to the race car, or was that just kind of, maybe just slowing it down a little bit? Yeah, definitely seems like that's the case. Of course, Dover eating tires up like for breakfast out here. Miles the Monster is going to claim some more drivers, and of course, you've been putting some a lap down. Looks like pace car lights are out though. Who can we give a quick shout out to before we let you get back to it? All right. Well, good luck to you. We'll talk to you probably later. Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, our Stage 1 winner. Green flag soon to be flying once again here as we get ready to start Stage 2. Of course, this stage will end on lap 115 going to 116. We did have a change in position on pit road. I do believe Shane Parrish was able to get up to second place, but I don't think you want to be on that top side here at Dover. That we are, and Patrick Gitter with another great restart, but not as good as I say in Stage 1. But look at that. Like I said, I don't know if you want to start up on the top side because Brandon Pastelacqua just took second. Of course, Brian Johnson has been one of the huge movers as well here tonight. He's now up to fourth place. Greg Wachinski is in fifth. Of course, Kenny Powell also gained a spot on pit road. He's up to sixth place. Yeah, it looks like Schaffner actually goes down to the bottom. Chris Severa able to make the pass on the top. Schaffner loses a couple of spots here, 3 or 4 possibly. He's going to be going all the way to the back, it seems like. Also see some battling here, I do believe, on the edge of the top 5. Greg Wachinski and Kenny Powell trying to battle here for that 5th place position. Darren Mullins right there behind them. And, of course, Darren, I do believe, recently won his first race in the ISCA, so wouldn't be surprised to see that momentum showing its face here tonight. But here we are, stage number 2. We appreciate everybody joining us here in the ISCA. Of course, make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Of course, like us on Facebook. We definitely appreciate it for sure. Of course, the battling has just begun here at Dover, as we still have well over 100 laps to go, just under 200 to go. We definitely are. We're on everything. Here comes Kenny Powell to the inside. He's going to be trying to work his way up to 5th, and I think he's going to be able to make the pass happen almost. He gets clear of Wachinski. Wachinski gets really tight there on the exit. Now Powell going to be seeing if he can't get up here to Johnson. Of course, we know Brian Johnson always very good on the long run, and he's been trending up all race long. Kenny Powell, I talked to him a little bit before the race. He didn't seem very confident. Kind of felt like he just wasn't that good and felt like he was almost a danger to himself when it comes to how easy it is to wreck a race car around this place. But it looks like he's got that car in well under control right now. It definitely is, of course. So we saw Chris Severa had worked his way up into the top 5 under that caution, or at the end of the stage. I think he spent some time down pit road probably to get that damage repaired. He fell all the way back to 12th. He's now back up into 7th at the moment. It looks like we had some issues there for possibly Kenny Powell. Let's take a look and see what just happened. Taking a look back at this, I think it might have been some contact with Kenny Powell and Darren Mullins, possibly. Not sure. Maybe Powell. Yeah, Powell trying to pass Brian Johnson. Gets loose off the corner, slides it. Oh, wow, look at that. Everybody misses him. That was close. I think a lot. Oh, he almost came down into Alexander Carr there. That was a hectic. Would have been a caution. I'm shocked it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, great call. I don't think I would have even noticed that. That's unfortunate for Powell, too, because he had gained so many spots as one of the biggest movers. Now he's back to essentially where he started, I do believe. Do see a battle starting to form here for the lead. Brandon Pasalacqua has caught up to get her. They separated by just a little over a tenth. Pasalacqua always has been one that is in contention to win essentially every race we see him in. And could he possibly get this one? A lot of battling going on here as they Yeah, because definitely have the possibility for green, white, or should I say green flag pit stop. Yep, up into that 10th position. You're right.
If he can run in the top 10 consistently and continue doing that tonight, he might actually have himself a pretty good prize run. And those guys are going to need that, especially for where they're going to be sitting at in the overall point standing.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to apologize to our audience
Now,
out there, and I want to apologize to you as well, Big Al.
Bit of competition there is Brandon Pasalacqua is definitely up on his keister. That's something that we did not see in the first stage at all. This stage, a lot closer there as Pasalacqua is going to be momentarily going to be contending for the lead.
Yeah, he definitely could very well contend for the lead here, battling soon to be side by side, I do believe. We haven't seen a whole lot of side by side for the lead.
Darren Mullins. Now, Darren he is a father-son duo there. Father, actually back there. Sorry, no, Darren's the dad. My bad. Randy's the son.
Yep,
Randy's back in 6th place. Those guys definitely got to be enjoying the run that they're having here this evening.
I do believe we're having an issue. Big Al, can you hear me?
Yeah, Brian, we can't hear you.
Well, I think the broadcast can hear me. We had a little bit of an issue to where they couldn't hear you for a second as well, so I think we're having a little bit of some technical difficulties. So just give us a second. We're actually going to take a quick commercial break so we can fix this. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I was not able to figure out what was going on here. Big Al apparently cannot hear me, and for a little bit there, we were not able to hear him. But we, of course, will try to bring the race to you no matter what here. Patrick Gitter in the lead, and he has managed to hold off Brandon Pasalacqua. Of course, Darren Mullins now at a race high of 3rd place. Of course, as we mentioned before, he has won his first race here just recently. Definitely see the momentum starting to translate to the racetrack here tonight as he sits in that 3rd place position, only about a second and a half back from Patrick Gitter, our leader. Of course, Chris Severa now up into 4th place position. Randy Mullins sits in 5th right now. About 2/10 back from him is Shane Perry. And I'm wondering if maybe Shane Parrish maybe made some adjustments to that race car because he's not looking quite as good as he was earlier. But then again, I think he's been really doing this on purpose to try to save that tire. You also see Matt DeCiani in that 7th place position. Brian Johnson sits in that 8th place position as well. Mark Sanchez looking really good right now in 9th. Of course, Kenny Powell has been on the struggle bus here after that big issue for him. He is now in 14th and trying to get those spots back. He's closing in on Jose Acosta at the moment. Of course, we also saw on the start there, Josh Schaffner had fallen all the way back now to 17th. He gave up a lot of spots. I think that car just not handling right. I'm wondering if maybe he got a bad set of tires on that car. The battling still commences, though. 184 laps now into the event. Of course, as we mentioned before, Stage 2 will end on lap 115. Starting to see some drivers starting to spread out a little bit. We saw Pasalacqua was really starting to put some pressure on Patrick Gitter, but I think Gitter just held on long enough. And we even heard him say it during his interview, I do believe, in stage, at the end of course, Stage 1. He talked about how, of course, he was really trying to keep that car, underneath him. He pulled out a little bit too far that last time by, and I think that's what he was giving, maybe leaving a little bit of a sign of hope to Brandon Pasalacqua, maybe make him burn his tires up. This, of course, a lot of times, on iRacing, it's all about mind games in a lot of ways. But we are starting to see a lot more spreading out, I think, than we did see in Stage 1. Of course, you do see Shane Parrish starting to catch up to Randy Mullins. Mullins was one that struggled quite significantly in Stage 1. Seems like he has a lot of trouble maybe on the long run. Looking at the stint so far, these guys are about 34 laps into this stint at the moment. Of course, the longest run we've seen thus far has been about 51 laps. So these guys are closing in on that number. They're going to go a little bit longer in this stage. A lot longer in Stage 3, though. Big Al, do you read me? Seems like we're still having some issues there, so not sure what is going on. But no matter what, we will still bring all of the action to you here. Of course, we see Greg Wachinski in that 10th place position, starting to catch up quickly to Mark Sanchez. Also, the battle starting to heat up. Brian Johnson starting to catch up here to Matt DeCiani. We saw he was one that struggled significantly on the long run. Has a very good, I'd say, short run car. And what's kind of interesting, and I don't know if this is going to be controversial, but Patrick Gitter and I do believe Matt DeCiani both are EPI drivers, Elite Performance Industries. Could they be on two maybe significant different race cars or just driving it differently? Because Dover has been a track that, it's all about really the way you drive the race car. You can't burn those tires up. So Gitter seems like he knows exactly what he's doing. So it's all really in his hands. So even though they might even be running the same setup, Gitter just knows how to do what he needs to do with that race car. Brian Johnson, though, is going to be able to make possibly the pass on DeCiani. DeCiani still holding on, but it looks like Brian Johnson does get clear. Of course, Chris Severa has moved up into the 3rd spot. Just got by Darren Mullins. Now he's going to be seeing if he can't possibly catch up to the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. Shane Parrish also starting to really get that run of speed. And I think Parrish, like I said before, I think he has a very significant long run pace. And I think he's another one that's on that EPI machine, or on that EPI setup here tonight. So it's definitely showing. They have a strong car here this week, it seems like. And they've had strong cars the last several weeks. So it's not a surprise that these guys are able to really do these long runs. As here comes Shane Parrish to the inside. He's going to be seeing if he can't possibly get by the 64 of Darren Mullins. I think he's going to have it here. He's going to be up into that 4th place position and possibly catch up there to Chris Severa. Of course, if you're looking at this, you're like, Chris Severa on a Thursday? You were probably right to be a little bit of, what the heck is going on? Well, of course, I do believe his work schedule has changed, and he is able to run on Thursday here. Hopefully we see him more often. It's always been one of my dreams to see Chris Severa run here in this Thursday series, and definitely lucky to be able to see that for sure, as he's about a second back from Brandon Pasalacqua. Also see Brian Johnson quickly catching up to Randy Mullins. This is about that time in the last run in stage 1 that Randy started having issues. Also see some battling back here. Greg Wachinski has caught up to Mark Sanchez. Of course, that is the 9th place position. But still battling on the racetrack at the moment. Here comes Greg Wachinski, tries to get to the inside. Mark Sanchez not allowing him to get there yet. Mark Sanchez, of course, one of the drivers that we've seen grow as of late. He has been one that has been getting top 10 after top 10. But Brian Johnson now catching up quickly to Darren Mullins. They're only separated by, I do believe, about a half a second at the moment. And Shane Parrish has already gotten by Severa. That is going to move him up to the 3rd position. Now, I think Shane Parrish has one of the best long runs out here so far here tonight. I mean, I think the only thing that is going to be possibly his undoing is the fact that Patrick Gitter has the lead. Clean air at this track is pretty significant. I mean, just considering the balance and handling of the race car is so important. And, of course, that dirty air versus clean air can very significantly change that. So even if drivers catch up to Patrick Gitter, it's going to be very difficult to make the pass. I mean, we saw that even on the newer tires with Brandon Pasalacqua. I mean, he was following in the tire tracks of Gitter for a long time there. But, of course, being in the dirty air, a lot of times that leads to the tires wearing a little bit more prematurely. So we'll have to see what Parrish can do if he can catch up there. Of course, he still has to get up to Brandon Pasalacqua, but I think he is up to the task looking at his lap time.
And I do believe I am back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you were talking, and I was like, Big Al, can you hear me? Because I was saying stuff, and you were just cutting me off. And I was like, what the heck? I know you weren't doing that on purpose now, but I was like, what is going on? Can you hear me now, Big Al?
I can hear you now. Yeah,
well, we did have an issue as well to where I do believe we weren't able to hear you as well on the stream. So, unfortunately, I think we were just having some technical difficulties there for a second. But luckily, I think it seems like it's cleared up. But, hey, racing still continuing right now. And I'll tell you what, I was talking about it before you came back. Shane Parrish, this guy has been incredibly fast. 23.810 last time by versus Patrick Gitter's 23.971. That is significantly faster. I mean, a tenth and a half. I'm wondering how this is all going to play out here. Of course, he has caught up to now Brandon Pasalacqua for second place.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching the 66 car, and he has been lightning fast. Those guys definitely did download a rocket ship when they got here tonight. Now, we've been watching Shane Parrish. He is not a guy that is a familiar staple here in the ISCA, but Brian, it looks like those guys are going to be here and they want a seat at the table. So as this league continues to develop here on Thursday night, I mean, I'm just thinking that, man, it's really going to be a dog-eat-dog kind of show.
It definitely has been a dog-eat-dog kind of show here. Parrish now up to the second place position, but he still has about 3.5 seconds to get up to Patrick Gitter. I do believe we're coming up to now 10 laps to go in stage number 2.
Yeah, stage 2, that's where everybody gets to come out here because, you know, you learned the lessons of stage 1. You kind of pushed it. But stage 2, that's kind of the conservation stage where you can kind of see what you learned from the changes that you made. But that third stage, that third final stage, that's going to be the long run tonight here. And that's what I think, that's where we're going to see who is definitely here to win it and is who is just here that's not even in it.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think clean air and dirty air is having a lot more of an effect than I think a lot of drivers realize. Just considering, I mean, we saw Kenny Powell with his issue. He fell all the way back now to 17th. And, you know, he's been kind of stuck in a lot of dirty air here. And a lot of these drivers are having problems with that.
He's about to get stuck in some even dirtier air because, I mean, Patrick Gitter is going to be going around him momentarily, Brian, and that's going to put him a lap down. And that's only going to compound his problems. Now, the good thing for him is he'll be the only contestant that's going to be vying for the lucky dog, so he'll actually be able to get it back. But if he had any plans of making any kind of long-term adjustments on pit road, that's probably not going to happen because Gitter is all up on him right now.
Tell you, I love that last name. Gitter's going to come and get you.
He's getting it done, man.
He definitely is. As we're getting closer and closer to that halfway point, we see Greg Wachinski. He's been really quick as well, as he's in that 9th spot, but he's starting to fight with DeCiani for that 8th spot. Now, I kind of talked about it while you were kind of having, or we were kind of both having those technical issues. You know, DeCiani is possibly on the same setup as Gitter and Shane Parrish, and he's just not doing as well right now. I'm wondering what's going on. Maybe he is on a little bit of a slightly different version than those other guys are. I think Dover's a track to where a lot of it's in the driver's hand. Of course, setup can help you out quite a bit, but if you don't know what you're doing with the resources you have, you could end up having some problems. And I think DeCiani might just be burning the tires up with his inputs.
And it could be a lot of other things that go on, Brian. You don't know, you know, what's his home life like? I mean, you know, even though they're running the same setup, I mean, what's he working with? What's his wheel? What's his pedal? I mean, it has that changed? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this. And as they make continual changes to the cars, three laps to go here before this stage is over. And yeah, you're right. There he is chasing rainbows and waterfalls. Yeah, well, we know DeCiani, and he is a consummate professional. I mean, this guy's, I mean, yeah, he knows what he's doing, right?
He does, yeah. Usually he's really quick, really good at saving tires, but tonight it seems like maybe he just, I mean, and Dover is one of those tracks that a lot of people consider it to be their worst track. And not to say it's the worst track. I'm saying it's their worst track. Like, they don't perform at this track.
I personally love it. Yeah, I personally love it, especially, you know, once you learn how to ride the waves at this track, that's the biggest thing. You got to be able to catch momentum going around. And I sound like I know what I'm doing. I really don't. That's why I'm sitting up here in the booth beside you. If I was good at racing, I'd have registered for this race instead of sitting up here commentating it.
Yeah, but I'd much rather be up here and watch these guys do it and act like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the white flag is going to be out here. We're getting ready to say Patrick Gitter's going to get her done for the second stage in a row here.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, a lot of times we see that person that wins stage 1 and stage 2, sometimes they don't win the race. But I'll tell you what, we haven't really talked about it tonight, about how you winning both stages, and even if you come home in second at the end of this thing, that can give you more points than actually winning the race. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what he's able to do in stage number 3. I think that's going to be a whole different battle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a whole different battle. Waiting on that caution flag to come out. as it should be coming. There it is, and Patrick Gitter gets her done. He is the Stage 2 winner. Shane Parrish, second place. Brandon Pasalacqua, third. Brian Johnson, fourth. Darren Mullins in fifth. Randy Mullins going to be in sixth. Greg Wachinski, seventh. Matt DeCiani, eighth. Mark Sanchez in ninth, and Josh Schaffner rounds out those top 10 points pin positions with Stage 2 in the books. We're going to slip away, get away from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And I do believe I'll be talking to Shane Parrish.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe Big Al's going to be wanting to talk to Shane Parrish. Go ahead and grab him up right quick.
Shane Parrish, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Big Al.
Man, Shane, I just want to say, man, I'm so
you there,
happy.
Guys?
Yeah, can you hear us, boss?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Hey, can
Shane,
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
sure
can hear
can.
you. Can you hear us?
Looks like
Shane?
we're having some more technical difficulties here. Just been a rough
I'm
night here
talking,
for
but
us.
I can't hear you guys. I don't know what's going on.
All right, so it looks like we'll have to talk
there we
with him
go.
later.
Sorry. Gotcha. It came back. Sorry.
You got us?
Gotcha.
All right, Big
Hey,
Al.
Shane, Big Al. Big Al up in the booth. You got us.
I got you, Big Al. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's all good, man. First off, I want to say real quick, man, thank you for keeping the Fords up front.
You're welcome. I'm trying. Brandon, Darren, Patrick, these guys they got a lot on it tonight. They're fast drivers at the start. I just don't have that pace at the beginning yet, but fast car on the long run, really, really having fun out here tonight.
And that's what we're going to be looking for in this stage. So, the first two stages in the books, now that third stage is coming into play. You thinking you got something for the long run, and how's that going to affect your pit strategy?
Yeah, I do for the long run, but just you lose too much time on old tires here. So once the first couple liters come in, you're going to have to pit within a lap or two, or you're just going to lose so much time you won't be able to catch back up even with a long run car. But yeah, I'm going to take my time here. We're going to see what happens if I drop back to 6th, 7th like I have been. I've been coming back up to 2nd and 3rd. So, just want to keep my nose clean and be there at the end.
Roger, that is going to be the strategy. And have you felt pretty good with where you've been running this week? Is this one of those tracks that you're pretty strong at?
Actually, this has been one of my worst tracks in history. Just got a really good car under us from EPI, Michael Conti. Did 2 training sessions with him this week to really help me out. That's helped a bunch. Track keeps changing, still learning a lot. Got a long way to go, but yeah, I've had some good races this week, gained a lot of IR and SR. So real happy with the car. I just can't thank API and Mr. Conti and those guys enough.
I think you just gave you a shout out, boss. Get back to it, and hopefully we'll talk to you at the end of this thing.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good time up there. Keep up the good work.
All righty, that was Shane Parrish, second place finisher, I do believe, in stage number 2, and he's been one of the drivers that have been a fixture, I'd say, up in the top 3 so far here tonight. Pace car lights are out. We're entering turn 3 and 4, getting ready to get the final stage underway. We haven't seen really a caution based on an accident yet so far here tonight. Of course, Dover is a lot of ways a self-cleaning racetrack with how high the banking is at this racetrack. Of course, Patrick Gitter going to be leading us to green once again. as we get ready to enter that Geico restart zone. And the green flag is back out. And it looks like Shane Parrish getting a not that great of a start, but looks like Brandon Pasolaco, even though he started on the top, I think he was able to still secure that second spot, which is kind of surprising from what we saw in the beginning of stage 2, that that driver on the bottom was able to really make significant headway. But look at the moves from Greg Wachinski, Big Al. I mean, he is up to now 4th.
But look, this is the time of the race, Brian, where you got to be smart. You just don't want to go out there right now and burn them down, because I'm telling you, I do believe that if you save just a little bit here, it's going to pay you dividends in the long run. Remember, it's very, very difficult to get cars with worn tires down on pit road at Dover under green flag conditions.
Yeah, this is actually one of the hardest places to pit at as well. I mean, just considering, I was just talking about how high the banking is at this place. Well, when you're having to transition down into that apron, can be quite very difficult. And you have to almost start pitting here at Dover in turn 3.
Yeah, especially with worn tires, and that's going to be the thing. That's what we're going to be talking about as we go throughout this stage. This being the longest stage. I mean, right now, it's going to be 125 laps at the end of this thing. So drivers are going to be doing things, and normally they don't get a chance to experience green flag pit stops, because no matter where you're at, where you're racing at, you just don't get the longevity where you get that long, lengthy green flag run. So drivers don't get to really practice pitting, if you will. But I'm telling you, in the ISCA, it's going to be a factor here tonight, Brian.
It always is. I mean, the ISCA known for how green they go, as we see a battle for, I do believe, that 4th place position. Josh Schaffner trying to take it away from Matt DeCiani, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Now, we saw earlier, Schaffner fell all the way back to 17th, and he's already all the way back up to 4th. I'm wondering how that's even possible.
Yeah, halfway through this thing, we are just now at the halfway point. And same thing with Matt DeCiani. His car is definitely showing strong early on. And there's Shane Parrish, the driver we just talked to, saying that, hey, look, my car struggles a lot of bit in that short run. Now he knows exactly what he's got to do. He's just letting his car come to him. No need to chase it. If you know what it's going to do, if you know where it's going, you just follow it till it gets there. You know, no sense of going out there trying to bend the wheel, if you will, to make it do something it doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I think that's why he has so much strength, I think, in his race car, because he's not trying to go fast early. And I think that's what allows him to have a little bit better long-run pace. And, yeah, I think he'll get a podium out of this here tonight if he stays on track. And I think he's running his own race. That's something that you talk about, and I think we both kind of talk about a lot, you know, and it could be applied to real life as well. Run your own race, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got your own pit crew, your own strategy, and you got to stay within that. And, you know, you tell that to your drivers as well. You don't want them to get out there and overdrive their capabilities even, Brian, because even though, you know, even guys running the same setup, entry points, braking points, slip points, all of those things are different where you've been. And if we even look at these guys, they're not running the same line. You know what I mean? Some of them a little bit higher, and that all equals friction. And that's going to just mean that some guys are going to be faster at different points in the race than other guys. You just got to run your own race.
Big pass there for second place as Josh Schaffner shoots up into second. A little contact with a wall there. Hoping that doesn't affect him too much. I think it's just going to be some cosmetic damage, but definitely a little bit of a touch there on that outside wall as he's going to try to see if he can't possibly catch up to Patrick Gitter. And whoever is in control of the clean air seems to be the one that is king out here. So if you take it away early, I think you're going to maybe make Gitter have some problems.
And can I say this? I mean, this is a safe space, but being touched is being touched. And it does add up, you know. So even though it might have seemed like it wasn't much, those touches, I mean.
Here we go. First time I think we've seen a challenge for the lead. And look at that. Josh Schaffner takes it. What a move from Schaffner.
Schaffner now going to be the first person other than Patrick Gitter to lead a lap.
Yeah, he definitely is, and hopefully he's going to be able to take that clean air and use it. But then we also heard Patrick Gitter in his first, I think in his interview in stage 1, that, you got to be careful in those first 5 to 10 laps. You can't burn those tires up. So has Schaffner done that? That's going to be really the question here.
Wait, seriously?
I mean, I know he's known for saving tire, but he's driving a little bit more uncharacteristic Schaffner here tonight, wouldn't you say? I mean, he's in a red car, and I think that red car is maybe provoking a little bit of aggression.
I mean, you cut me off on my touches segment, but I think Schaffner, though.
I did.
No, I don't care. Schaffner knows this track, though. I don't think he's a rookie to this, and I don't think he's out there making arbitrary mistakes. I think he's making calculated moves, and maybe his plan is to get out there, run as fast as he can, short pit the stage, and then run fast and hard again.
Yeah, that could be definitely the key for sure. I mean, this is a track that I think their pit strategy is going to be really, really important. Also, Jose Acosta, we saw him. He qualified well in this race, fell quickly to the back. He's now up in 8th, and he's really starting to put some pressure on Greg Wyszynski.
Yeah, I can't say anything negative about Jose. Run, John Deere, run. Jose is my hero. Jose for president. Jose, if you're listening to this, and I know you will, I think you're racing great tonight. Continue to do awesome things. Okay, now, Jose, don't listen. Yeah, Jose struggled earlier. He struggled earlier on in the race, and I'm hoping that he has settled down, Brian, because the one thing that we do know about him is once he reels himself in, he will be a contender. He just has hopefully he's got a good harness on himself. Now he's focused and he'll be able to shoot this thing through. But it looks like a lot of drivers, man, are making moves. And this field is nothing like we've ever seen before. I mean, we've got a lot of hard hitters in here, and this is a pay-per-view event. So, I mean, I'm just along for the ride, and I'm telling you, a heck of a ride it is. And Josh Schaffner leading this crew all the way around as we are 112 laps to go in this event before it is in the books. 21 laps so far on their tires. And look at that track temp. Right now, the ambient air temperature is 68 degrees. Track temp's at 96 degrees. Wind's going to be out of the southwest at 7 miles an hour on the partly cloudy skies here in Dover, Delaware. Brian, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking about this race so far?
Oh, it's been an excellent race. It has been a great race. I mean, Dover always puts on an awesome show, and it makes me look forward to what NASCAR is going to look like on Sunday as well. But these guys are putting on a good show. I mean, this is probably even going to be better than I'd say what we're seeing NASCAR. We're seeing battling all over the racetrack. Right now, actually battling going on between Randy Mullins and Greg Wyszynski. Wyszynski going to be falling back to 9th place. But the Monster Mile doesn't disappoint. I mean, this is a driver's track. A lot of ways you see it like a track like Darlington or something like that. This place is dangerous. It will bite you. I wouldn't even be surprised. This is like the second track too tough to tame in a lot of ways.
You compare this to Darlington?
I mean,
no
the way
way.
the difficulty.
Man, I can't. I couldn't walk my dog around Darlington. You know what I mean? I can't get that track. Never been able to.
I mean, yeah, this track I say is not quite as hard as Darlington, but this is still a very difficult track.
It is. A lot of people just can't get this one, but this was one of the first tracks that I actually learned how to drive well, and it's always been one of my favorites. I remember when I first came into the series getting yelled at by a guy here, and I was like, man, why are you yelling at me? But then I realized I was doing the wrong thing. So, yeah, it works out. I yelled at a lot of people.
Yeah, I hear that, and Dover will bring that out of you for sure, as we see, of course, Randy Mullins has gotten by Jose Acosta here. Looks like everybody playing somewhat nice. We saw Schaffner take the lead. Patrick Gitter is starting to catch back up.
And right now, I think he let him get out far enough that way he is not really affected by his air, but not so much that it's a runaway. And that's it, though. I think these two right here are going to definitely be playing cat and mouse for a little bit. don't think they're not on the same team, so they're not working the same strategy. Just we're gonna have to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, 100%. Here comes J.C. Evans trying to get by, I do believe, Dave Hughes Jr. He's going to be successful in that, moving up to the 10th position.
I mean, Evans has had, consistently he has had problems. So hopefully this guy can bring this forever car here tonight. Hopefully they'll actually get some good luck, get a good top 10 finish, and turn some positive points. They're long overdue, Brian.
Definitely. Of course, I do believe just recently, I think he got his first podium we've seen in quite a while. But yeah, he usually doesn't find a whole lot of success. He's one of those mid-pack drivers, but he looks like he's trying to see if he can't do one better. But he has a hungry 4 on his rear end. Brian Johnson has had a little bit of an up and down day. He's been up in the top 5. Now he's been outside of the top 10. He's trying to get back up there. Of course, we also see Greg Wachinski now trying to go side by side with Jose Acosta.
Yeah, Kenny Powell's also right there behind Brian Johnson. Brian Powell, look at me. I mean, I'm making dollies over here, right? But Brian Johnson, like you said, on his way to the front, G&G teammate, Kenny Powell going to be right behind him. These guys are going to be definitely doing that. And obviously, I do believe the G&G guys are going to be on that same pit sequence. So they're kind of spread out throughout the field here, but definitely look at them to make a charge and be one of the bigger groups here towards the end of this thing.
And one thing about it, I mean, of course, the closer and closer we get to the end, the more likely we could possibly see a caution. We haven't seen any cautions based on an accident as of yet. Jose Acosta, though, you can tell he's tight. That car is not handling as well as I think he wants it to. As here comes Brian Johnson to the inside. But you can never count Jose out. I mean, we saw a race, I do believe. Ooh, that was close.
Yep, him and Kenny going to be bumping a little bit there. But don't talk about it because Jose will get upset.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that, like, we saw him, I think, there goes Kenny Powell. A little bit of a loose condition there. I think maybe he had some contact. But what I was referring to is we saw Jose in one race recently that he was struggling so hard out there, was having a lot of problems. But then he finished second place. Like, I mean, don't count that 42 out. He'll make some type of move at the end of this race if a caution comes out, and he'll be right in prime position.
And if Jose's mother is listening, we love Jose. Thank you. He is awesome. And if his brother is watching, come on back, man. We miss you there. We need you back out here.
Yeah, of course, Abner Acosta, I do believe, actually competing in Road to Pro here tonight. But definitely would love to see him back out in the field as well. Patrick Gitter has retaken the lead from Josh Schaffner.
Now, Gitter's going to be right back where he wants, and that is out front. He wants to dictate this pace.
Yeah, he definitely does. Of course, Josh Schaffner. Like I was thinking, maybe he was burning his stuff up. I don't like to think that about Schaffner because that's usually not the case, but I think he was just desperate. He was like, hey, let me get this clean air that Gitter's had all race long.
But I do believe I like the way this third stage is playing itself out. I mean, the field is really kind of spread out right now. So even when it comes down to those green flag pit stops, and right now we're 37 laps on the equipment, these guys are still nowhere near where they want to come in. I think everybody's going to want to be aiming to kind of put it in half as the 9 of J.C. Evans coming down on the inside of Jose Acosta. Jose got a little bit loose there. He's going to be off the pace just a little bit. Kenny Powell's going to
oh, there he goes.
Powell and Jose get in contact, and that is going to bring out the caution. And Brian, how much is this going to change?
Oh, this is going to change a lot, and I don't think these guys are in the fuel window quite yet. They're really close. But yeah, Jose Acosta around on the front stretch. I have to take a look.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because Jose's going to get upset.
Let's take a look back at this and see exactly what happened here. Yeah, I don't know. I think Kenny kind of came up into the 42 there. Turned Jose around. Of course, Jose wasn't handling very well. Was a little bit slow up on the top side, and I think Kenny just showed a little bit of impatience there.
You just said that Jose was slow, though. You said that. Ooh, pit road's real busy right now. Yeah, Jose, sorry about that, bud. You got to figure that one out. Looks like Kenny Powell did just kind of drift up into him. You know,
Yeah.
these guys, they're similar breaking points to similar breaking points, but the good news is nobody got any major damage out of that. Everybody's still on the lead lap. Pit road super busy. Going to see what everybody's doing here. 5 sets of tires.
Well, a little bit of an update here, though. You talk about everybody's on the lead lap. Of course, Chris Severa, I guess we missed that because he is 43 laps down.
Is he even still racing?
I do not believe so. Looks like he has called it quits for the evening. We did talk about his work schedule changing, and I think maybe got a little too late for him here. Hopefully that's not going to be the case on Saturday as well. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to see Chris go to the end here. But Patrick Gitter comes off pit road in first place. Josh Schaffner, of course, I do believe is going to come out in second.
Looks like everybody taking 4 tires and Sunoco Racing Fuel. 93 laps to go. Yeah, that changes everything because right now, I mean, what is it, 90 laps here for a tank of gas on this? So
you know
we're
what
right
also,
there.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
My point here, of course, we talked about it on the top of the broadcast. 4 sets of tires these guys have to play with. Of course, 5 starting out with the set that they had. Well, that would mean, I think, that they have 1 set left. So if they have to pit, then, you know, if another caution comes out, we could see some guys that don't have a set left.
Here's the thing. This is going to be the contender here that you gotta take this into consideration. No one's going to make it 90. It'll be 90 laps once the green flag flies.
They're going to try.
That's right at the edge of the fuel window. And I know a lot of guys are looking at that and they're saying, yeah, I think I can do it. But the question is, how many guys have run 90 laps on a set of tires here this week?
I don't think any. Just considering, I mean, you think about the A Open. I mean, I know maybe our viewers don't understand, but the A Open, it's 120 laps, and usually everybody kind of splits that in half. They go to about 60, 65, something like that. You know, a lot of times the overcut is the strategy to make. Yeah, with cautions. If it goes green, you pit around 60, 65. But 90 laps, no one has really done that. And the thing is, tire wear is so significant here. I've seen drivers get 0% on their tires after a 60-lap run. So we have a significant possibility that some guys are going to blow tires. Fuel, yeah, that's going to be a big concern. Can they make it on gas? But I think the real question is tires. I think that these guys are going to could possibly blow tires.
The only problem is it's just so enticing because you're right here and you know right now you could make it. And I just want everybody at home to understand this. I think I can. And it's on the driver. If you got enough gas in the car, you got to be able to drive the tires off the thing. And that's the bottom line, because the guy that can do that the best is going to be the guy that wins this thing, barring that there's not another caution.
But I think there's another option as well, though, just trying to split this run in half. I mean, with the fall off we've seen, it's been over a second. So I feel like if you try to just split the run in half, just, don't even try to make it to the end. You're going to have so much quicker lap times, you're going to catch these guys and possibly get by them.
Yeah, but if you do that, then you're really going to be out there flapping it towards the end because you're going to be the guy starting on old tires. If there is a late race
is a call. Yeah, that's a good point. So this is a really tough decision. Green flag is back out, though, as we have just had our first caution based on an accident. Matt DeCiani side by side for second place with Josh Schaffner.
Good to see DeCiani getting his legs back underneath him here tonight. Now he's going to be trying to get back up into the top 3, trying to battle Schaffner here.
He's had his fair share of problems here tonight. He's definitely does not seem like he has good long run pace.
I'm going to tell you what, EPI definitely has to be very, very pumped up about the performance that team's putting on here tonight. With 89 laps to go in this thing, Brian, looks like we've had a total of 3 different leaders. That's it, just 3.
Yeah, they definitely brought a significantly
two.
fast piece. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been only two, Josh Schaffner and Patrick Gitter.
Yeah,
Those
Josh
are only
Schaffner
two.
and Patrick Gitter.
So we'll have to see what Josh Schaffner's play is here. Of course, he passed Gitter earlier, and here he goes. He's going to try to do it again. We know he's capable of getting around Patrick Gitter, but I think Gitter's fine with that. I don't think he's like, go ahead. Go ahead, pass me, because I'll get you back. Because they have a really good long run car right now, especially in the hands of Gitter. I mean, Gitter, he's an alien, I'd say. He's really fast.
Yeah, and speaking of aliens, this is not going to be the opportunity that you're going to be able to take or risk to go down pit road. This is not one of those tracks where it's going to work out in your favor. So if the leader is going to manage this thing and make it to the end, and anybody else is doing anything other than that, Brian, I think it could be detrimental.
There we go. We had the crossover from Patrick Gitter. He retakes the lead. Now, this is kind of good for Schaffner because this is pushing Gitter to drive harder than he probably wants to. He's falling for the bait, and we know this is Josh Schaffner's MO. He's going to try to play mind games with you.
Nope. I'm going to make a prediction. Let me know when you're ready.
I mean, I'm just waiting on you to say what you were going to say. I mean, you don't have to wait for me, Big Ed.
It's going to be another caution.
I think so, too, yeah.
And I think it's going to be before, 10 to go. So I think that's gonna drive the train, so to speak.
Them battling, though, right now is bringing Brandon Pasalakwa into the picture. He has worked his way back up into the top three. He's only about 2/10 or so behind these drivers. They're starting to pull away from the rest of the group, though. DeCiani's starting to fall back.
That's okay. There's one thing I know that'll get them all back together again, and that's my little buddy Bill up there in the flag booth.
That's right. You see some battling here. The 77 of Ryan Strunk. Where did he come from? He hasn't been really a factor all race long. He's now up in 7th.
Now, I wanted to talk about Strunk a little bit earlier on in this thing because, Ryan Strunk, he's up 8 places. He started this thing in 15th place, and he has been running consistent tonight, and that's the one thing. If we can keep Strunk running consistent and available towards 10 to go, that changes that team's entire menu plan for the rest of the week.
Here comes Brian Johnson to the inside of Randy Mullins. Johnson's going to be moving up, I do believe, to the 8th place position. Of course, Brian Johnson has been up in the top 5. Go ahead.
I think Mullins is right now, he's starting to look at the bigger picture, and that is, hey, look, I got to make this thing last 80 laps. And we know that he understands that math in his head. There's only a couple of drivers that I can definitely say understand, hey, how to make this thing last. You got to get the Buffalo out of the nickel, and I think that's what Mullins is going to try to do. We've seen him do this before, Brian, and I think tonight, if he can actually do that and just run smart, he might be able to find himself onto the podium.
We're talking about Randy Mullins or Darren Mullins?
I don't know about Randy on that one.
Well, I don't know. I kind of got to be devil's advocate. I think Randy struggled all race long. He has not shown good long-run pace. He's been burning it up. And I think you're right. I think most of the time when we see Randy, he's one of those drivers that is good on the long run. But I don't know. I think that this might be a different story here at Dover. We'll have to wait and see, though. You could be right. Maybe he's not putting all his cards down.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to win this thing.
Of course, we do see a battle starting to formulate here for the lead. Patrick Gitter is caught back up to Josh Schaffner. Here he comes to the inside. Brandon Pasalakwa also right there as well. As there goes Gitter right around Schaffner. Schaffner's pretty much just going to let him have it.
Well, he's got his G&G teammate, Brandon Pasalakwa. Let Pasalakwa go ahead and chase Gitter down now. Schaffner now can go ahead and fall back and play the team card on this one.
Yeah, let Pasalakwa maybe burn his stuff up. I think that Schaffner's probably like, let me cool the tires off a little bit here. He realizes that, hey, we got to go 90-something laps. I mean, still, just now, I think when we cross the line here, it's going to be 75 to go.
Well, the 24 and the 42 are back at it. These two, I mean, they're racing like it's the last lap, but I love it. I mean, go out there, guys, and beat your heads against each other's cars, and let's make this thing exciting.
They're definitely making it exciting. It's been exciting all race long. As 24 has gotten by, Jose Acosta moves up into the 9th place position. Of course, Kenny Powell has been all the way as far back, I do believe, as 16th. He is now back up in the top 10, up in 9th. But here comes Jose trying to get underneath. Not quite able to get there, though.
That battle definitely is going to continue to wage on here for quite a while.
Brandon Pasalacqua still battling, trying to see if he can't possibly take the lead from Gitter. He has not been the leader yet here tonight. Of course, the only leader so far has been Josh Schaffner and I do believe Patrick Gitter. Can Brandon Pasalacqua add his name to that? He gets a good run off of turn number 4. Gonna see if he can't set something up into 1 and 2 here. You can see he's doing more of a diamond line, trying to enter high and exit low. These drivers definitely putting on an exciting show. Here comes Brandon. He's going to try to get underneath to 21. I think he's going to be there.
Ooh-wee.
Not going to get the exit he needs, though. He had to take a little bit of a shallow entry there in order to get underneath Gitter. Here comes Schaffner right back into it. And Schaffner's like, okay, you can't do it. Here I come. And here comes DeCiani as well. I think DeCiani, we talked about guys not showing their cards earlier. I think he has been holding a pair of aces.
Yeah, 70 laps to go and 23 laps on their equipment. I mean, I don't know. Kenny Rogers, I think, said it best. You got to know when to hold them.
Yeah, I think he's definitely been holding them right now. He's got the royal flush.
That's just a little bit early to show your hand is all I'm saying on this one.
Also,
Jose Acosta now. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we see Ryan Strunk catching up quickly to the back end of Darren Mullins. What's going on with Jose?
Jose is slowly making his way back up to Brian Johnson as Kenny Powell actually was able to get by the 4 and actually put a little bit of leadway on there. Jose has kind of cooled his tires off now. He's showing a little bit of pace here, trying to get back up into his position. Currently being scored in P10. So let me ask you this question, Brian.
Yep.
What are you thinking that it's looking like for pit stops now?
I think you go down pit road and split this run in half. I mean, I understand that it's going to be quite a significant gamble, but you're kind of danged if you do, danged if you don't in a lot of ways. If I was these guys, if I was in a position to possibly win this race and was still up here in the top 3, I think I'd pit about 105. Come down around then, grab that fresh set, and just get gone and drive as hard as I could. And it seems like some of these guys might have that in mind because they're driving hard. These guys are not saving tire. Here comes DeCiani, though, to the inside of Schaffner. Oh, this is going to be close. A little bit of a door banging there. More door banging. Now, this could change everything. If a caution comes out here and you only have most of these drivers only have one set of tires left, I mean, what do you do in this situation when you only have one set left?
Well, you drive respectfully and cautiously, I guess. That's what I'll be telling my guy.
I mean, if you had a caution come out right now, are you taking tires?
I think you have to because everybody else is going to.
Well, that means you're going to be on old tires. And that driver that decides to not take tires.
Ooh! Mark Sanchez sideways going down the front stretch there. Don't know if he was actually able to pedal through it or not.
Looks like he is still pointed in the right direction in 13th. He does have Greg Wachinski starting to come up onto his rear end.
And that just goes to show you, like I said, that caution is not going to come from the front. It's going to come from the back. These guys are going to be pushing the envelope back here. And it's going to make for some...
Whoa! And there goes some problems there. Mark Sanchez, heavy contact with the outside wall.
Also had a car go down deep on the inside wall.
I think that was Alexander Carr. Oh, more contact with the wall. Mark Sanchez is going to have some heavy damage after that. Surprised he didn't break a toe link. That was quite a significant pounding.
Yeah, he's still good, but I don't know for how long.
Good is a relative term, I'd say.
Yeah, he scrubbed the good years off.
He is now all the way back into 16th place. He was up in the top 10 earlier.
Yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about, though. With 59 laps to go, you're starting to see guys, their equipment's going to start to wane. They've been pushing it pretty hard here. And I'm telling you, I don't think the issue's going to be at the front. I think the issue's going to come from a little bit further back in the pack.
I think the person that if no one stops, if one driver is able to win this race just by staying out and having the best tires at the end of it, I think that might be Shane Parrish. He's been, we even talked to him. You talked to him. And that was his strategy to kind of save tires. He's not fast early, but he's been able to save tire. And I think that's going to be an important thing here. As he's coming up quickly onto the rear end, I do believe, of Darren Mullins, of course, trying to enter the top 5 once again.
Randy Mullins makes his way into the top 10, passing Ryan Strunk.
Yeah, it seems like Ryan Strunk's starting to struggle a little bit as we continue through this run, but we still have so much longer to go. So anybody that's struggling right now, they're going to have to come down pit road.
Yeah, the struggle bus has left the building, and it's out there collecting numbers right now. And if the struggle bus catches you, then you understand exactly where you're at on the racetrack, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just puts you in that situation where you have to come down pit road. As we see J.C. Evans starting to catch up here to the 77. Going to try to see if he can't get underneath.
Got the 42 right behind them. These guys are going to be on the struggle bus. 71. Dave Hughes Jr., he's down pit road right now. That is happening with 54 laps to go. He's got his primary set dialed in. He knows what he needs to do. He is down now, and I think he's going to come out and kind of push this thing a little bit harder than some of these guys are waiting to see.
Now, like I said, I think that's going to be the strategy. I know it's a gamble, and I know a caution could easily come out, but I think that they're almost forced into that situation.
I think he's done. He's just done the box way too long.
Oh, no. Yeah, he is now 2 laps down.
Yeah, but we got another car. Looks like he's ready to kind of come down pit road.
Do a quick rundown through the field here as it stands. Patrick Gitter is the leader. John Schaffner in 2nd place. Matt DeCiani is in 3rd. Brandon Pasalakwa sits in 4th. Shane Parrish is in 5th. Kenny Powell 6th. Brian Johnson 7th. Of course, we see Randy Mullins in 8th. J.C. Evans, he's on our screen right now as he battles side by side with Ryan Strunk's actually going to move up to that 9th place position. Ryan Strunk 10th. Jose Acosta in the midst of that battle as well. He's in 11th. Greg Wachinski
is going to be 12th. Alexander Carr, you're going to find him in 13th. 14th is Mark Sanchez. Then it gets tricky. Darren Mullins is going to be in 15th, but he is 1 lap down. Dave Hughes Jr. just went down pit road. He is in 16th. and he is 3 laps down. And after that, Christopher Paulos and Jordan Sellers and Scott Nashland not on the racing surface. The 64 coming off of pit road right now, I think that's his official green flag pit stop.
Yeah, and you talked about it maybe not being worth it to go down pit road at this point. And I think that's your main argument right there. He went 2 laps down from pitting. As we see 3 wide there, Jose Acosta trying to make a pass up on the top.
77 Ryan Strunk's going to be coming down pit road. So the drivers are showing their hands. A lot of these guys are saying, hey, look, I know what my car do on a 50-lap stint. But like I said, Brian, it's next to impossible to get these cars down to that speed and go down pit road without going at least 2 laps down.
No, I think you're right, and that's what's going to hurt. Even though you're going to be so much faster than the rest of the field, it's going to be hard to make up 2 laps, especially how cautious you have to be just to get on pit road. I mean, once you actually come down with 40, 50 laps on your tires, it's so hard to get that car to turn down onto that apron and down to 35 mile an hour. That's what the pit speed is at this track, which is one of the lowest pit speeds we see in NASCAR.
So if you're coming, I think, right, you got to come now. If you even think that you have the slightest iota of a chance that you're going to have to come down pit road, you need to come down pit road now. There's no sense of going any farther at this point, because right now you're gonna dig a deeper hole for you to get out of.
Yeah, I think you're right. Of course, you would also dig your hole, and I'd be kind of arguing your point as well, that if a caution comes out, that's going to dig a hole for you as well. Because, I mean, if you stay out and a caution does come out, you're going to look like a genius. But that's just the nature of racing. Sometimes you just get lucky, sometimes you don't.
Ooh, the 42
there it is, caution.
Upended. That changes the entire situation, the strategy for those guys that did pit, where they're kind of screwed because you're only going to get that one back. Jose Acosta bit it. Not sure exactly what happened to him.
You believe he had some contact here with the 64 possibly? Maybe the 18? No, he might have just got loose all on his own. Let's see if we could find out exactly what happened here. Yeah, I think the 18 might have got him here. Oh, no, he just got loose off the corner.
Yep, still didn't get that dreaded repairs required flag. Dave Hughes Jr. has manually disconnected Ryan Strunk 2 laps down. We'll be watching to see him.
Yeah, 42 of Jose Acosta just got loose all on his own now. This is going to be a much easier decision for these guys. A lot of drivers are going to be coming down pit road. Now, the guys that just green flag pitted, they're kind of in a bad position right now.
Yeah, Darren Mullins looks like he's going to be up. He'll possibly get the lucky dog, and that'll put him 1 lap down. Ryan Strunk's the next driver. Still, it didn't do those guys any good. So, like I said, Darren Mullins is going to get the lucky dog. That's going to wave him around. Ryan Strunk will get the wave around after that. So that'll put both of those 2 guys back on the lead lap. However, it's going to make it virtually impossible for Ryan Strunk to actually be able to pit again.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, yeah, it's a wash,
That's why I was saying you're kind of, up the creek either way. I mean, it just depends on what happens. I mean, if a caution comes out, and unfortunately that is what happened. I mean, those guys, they put their cards down and they didn't have good cards.
I want to see Jose's PayPal information. I think you got Cash App to bring that caution out.
He might have.
Yeah, there I said it, Jose. Get upset.
But I think now's a good time. Let's take a quick step away, and we'll come back. And, of course, we're going to have, I do believe, a little bit over 40 laps to go when we go back green. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
Or there, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you joining us here with the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series. Definitely has been a fantastic race full of nothing but strategy. And, of course, a lot of those strategies have been undone by that last caution.
Detrimental would be the word. I mean, both Ryan Strunk and Darren Mullins pitted unceremoniously, and they're both still a lap down because, you know, pitting here on the green cost them 2 laps. They were both only able to get 1 lap back apiece. So, I mean, right now, barring another caution, those who have pretty much taken themselves out of the equation mathematically, Brian.
Yeah, and also one thing mathematically, I don't believe anybody has tires left as well. So if another caution comes out, this is going to be quite a struggle as the green flag comes back out once again. With now 40 laps to go, Matt Liciani able to clear Josh Schaffner for 2nd place. We see Brandon Pasalacqua battling with Shane Parrish for that 4th place position. This is when the gloves are off.
Yeah, unfortunately, we might need them, though.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle. Oh, and there we go. Brandon Pasalacqua with issues.
And that is not going to bring out a caution. But it is going to bring out some cheers for the 6 car. He still did not receive a meatball flag, so he will be able to continue.
Take a look back at this. Of course, this involving him and Shane Parrish.
It's probably not going to work out in the way, you know, it's not going to work out the way he kind of figured his race would end.
I'll tell you what, who probably had a scary little bit of a situation there was Kenny Powell. Watching Brandon Pasalacqua shoot down the track right in front of him.
I'm just amazed that his car, you know, was able to continue, Brian.
It's quite amazing, that's for sure. We've seen a lot of cars, I think, take shots that they shouldn't be able to keep going. I mean, Mark Sanchez is one of them. Here comes Josh Schaffner. Oh, they're getting close to one another here, but Schaffner does get the pass completed, moves up to 2nd place. Schaffner's been fast, but we'll have to wait and see what he can do here. Now, he's been good in that 40-lap run area. Can he maybe somehow get in front of Gitter and hold him off?
Yeah,
35 laps to go here next time by.
If he's going to do it, Brian, he just has to, like, throw caution to the wind, just get out in front of Gitter and just, like, not think about anything. He's just got to drive the car because if he thinks and focuses, then he's not going to have the charisma to get by him. It's just one of these things where right now, if we're going to win this thing, you got to drive the wires out the tires.
Yeah, I mean, you can't let him get by you. Just got to make that car 5 wide all by yourself. Driver has also been making some big moves. Brian Johnson up into 5th position, starting to work on Shane Parrish. course, you do see Kenny Powell right there in that 6th place position. He has been up and down through this field. Oh, contact with the wall there from J.C. Evans back in 8th. Evans goes up the track. Greg Wachinski is going to possibly get by him. Also see Darren Mullins right there in the picture as well. Of course, Mullins is 1 lap down, trying to hold on to that lucky dog spot as he's actually battling with Ryan Strunk for that spot. Battle still heating up for the lead. Patrick Gitter trying to hold off Josh Schaffner. Gitter has won Stage 1 and Stage 2, has been the dominant driver so far here tonight in that 21 machine. Can he hold on to it? Matt DeCiani has definitely shown a lot of growth here in this race. Looks like Josh Schaffner into the wall a little bit there on the backstretch. I mean, looking at DeCiani early in this race, I didn't think he had a snowball's chance. But he's showing a lot of speed right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing in that one machine. I think that maybe some much-needed adjustments, or maybe even adjustments to how he's driving the race car. Look at this. Brian Johnson all over the 66 of Shane Parrish.
Yeah, it's getting kind of tricky here, Brian.
It definitely is. Now less than 30 laps to go.
Greg Wachinski moving down onto the inside of 77, Ryan Strunk.
Of course, Ryan Strunk is a lap down.
Lap down, yes. But Strunk's still doing everything he wants to do. He is racing Wachinski just like he was on the same lap.
Yeah, I think that Strunk just knows that, hey, I got to get up there to Darren Mullins in order to get my lap back if a caution comes out. Of course, Darren Mullins pulling away from him. And this is hurting Greg Wachinski because, I mean, he's got a lot of hungry drivers right there behind him, and those guys are for position. Oh, Strunk getting really loose off the corner there. This has got to be nerve-wracking for the 5.
Nothing he can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing he can do. He's got to pass him, and it looks like Strunk goes up the track. This is going to be the 5's best chance to get by him. Oh.
Ooh. Strunk, man, still coming strong off of turn 4 there. Coming down to 1 and 2, looks like he's going to let him get loose.
I think he's going to, oh, wow. Strunk almost gets into the back of the 5. Looks like Greg Wachinski out of the danger zone for now. But J.C. Evans now inherits that danger. Alexander Carr as well doing a pretty good job here.
Hadn't talked about him a lot tonight, Brian.
Yeah, we haven't. The 18 machine now up in the top 10. Great job to him. Of course, I do believe, I think he's related to Greg Carr. I haven't seen him a lot here tonight. Surprised that he hasn't shown up for the race.
Yeah, father-son team there. But not sure what race team they're actually a part of.
Definitely starting to see the battle still coming to fruition here for the lead. Schaffner not giving up. Within 2/10 now of Patrick Gitter right there following in his tracks. But you mentioned it. If you're going to make a pass for the lead, you're going to have to do it early. And I think he's waited too long. Coming up now to 21 laps to go here next time by.
I think there's going to be another caution.
And if there's another caution, Big Al, we're going to see wheel spin. Because, I mean, this place burns tires up significantly. And if you're forced into a position where you have to start on old tires, I would not be surprised to see some wheel spin. And that lead to even more cautions.
Well, we might. I don't know. Some guys might even have another set.
I mean, if you were smart and you saved a set, that would have been a genius call. I mean, like, if you would still have a set and these guys are on 20, 30 lap old tires and you still have a fresh set of tires, you would be able to drive by them like they're standing still. I mean, we've seen a second of fall off. More, you know. Sometimes it's, you know, making those sacrifices. It might not work out for you if it went green, but if it doesn't, it's just it's a gamble.
I think they still have another set of tires, Brian.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I know that we started out with 4 down in the pits, and I think these guys have all been down pit road 4 times.
I'm only showing 3 with the exception of Sanchez, who's been down.
Is that right?
4.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've been wrong this whole time. I've been creating a false sense of urgency. I mean, that could be the case. Yeah. Well, I could have sworn we pitted more than 3 times, but if that's the case, then we get another green, white check, or if we get another caution, that's going to make this even more crazy, Big Al. If you're good on the short run, you could win this race.
I think it's going to happen. You know me. I mean, I just have a way with
seldom wrong or seldom in doubt.
You're not my strength.
Well, here we go. Less than 20 laps to go. Coming up on 15 to go here in just a lap or 2. We definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in to the ISCA. Been a fantastic race thus far. Patrick Gitter getting incredibly close to the wall there.
Yeah, thank you for spending your Thursdays with Brian and I and our crazy antics, because we know, I mean, a lot of people are just hanging out here because of us. It's not the race. I mean, let's just be honest. It's just the camaraderie that we provide here, the color commentary.
Yeah, it's like, what kind of crazy stuff are they going to say this time?
They're like, hey, that Big Al fella, he's all right there. I like that.
That Brian, though, I don't know what he's talking about.
He's peculiar. They'll say that's what they say. That Brian fella, he's peculiar.
That's a good way to describe me, peculiar.
14 laps to go here before we get this one in the books. This one right here started out at 250, Brian. And we have been here and literally only had 2 different leaders of this thing so far. That's the 50 of Schaffner and the 21 of Patrick Gitter. Gitter now got a lead out of 1.5 seconds over Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, Josh Schaffner, speaking of which, is under a lot of fire right now for Matt DeCiani, and also Shane Parrish right there as well. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right there on top of each other. Brian Johnson also, definitely, he has the best seat in the house. He's watching these guys like, please make a mistake.
No, he's watching these guys like, hold on, I'm coming. Like, just give me 2 more seconds, I'll be up there with you guys, and we can make it a 4-way battle for 2nd place.
That's right.
Kenny Powell has the best seat in the house because he ain't got no pressure right now.
Yeah, for sure. Here comes DeCiani. Oh, wow, that was close.
Oh, it ain't over yet.
And you were talking about, the wreck's going to come from the back. I think it's going to come from the front this time around.
Well, when I said the back, I didn't necessarily mean like this is the back. It's not.
This
the
is
front.
the back. If you're first, you're last. If you ain't first, you're last.
The front is 2.5 seconds ahead of these guys.
Yeah, but the back is 13 seconds back.
Yeah, 10 laps to go here.
DeCiani up to 2nd. Look at that, Brian Johnson. He moves up into 4th.
Man, he is still on a roll right here. This is going to turn out to be a battle for 2nd place as Parrish right now tucked away in 3rd. Going to be digging in on the back end of Matt DeCiani.
And this is when Parrish's car starts to get good.
Yeah, these guys are on the same team too, Brian.
That they are, but we've seen guys on the same team before. Doesn't stop them from racing, especially when you get close to the end.
Well, I mean, like, this is all EPI. You got Gitter, you got DeCiani. and you've got Parrish that are all on the EPI team.
Yeah, they're definitely putting in a lot of work here. And they've been really quick. I mean, been very impressed with the speed they've been showing here, as we're now less than 10 laps to go. I do believe 7 to go.
Yeah, the first G&G car is Brian Johnson in fourth, and then you got Kenny Powell and Josh Schaffner. I mean, wow, G&G gets a fourth, fifth, and sixth.
I mean, not a bad showing there for G&G, not in the slightest.
Yeah, but talk about a turn of the tides.
Yeah, I mean, and you love to see that, though, Big Al. We talk about it all the time, like, even, Kenny Powell always talks about, I don't want G&G to be the main guys. We want to, make sure that the other, or not make sure, but, that the other teams have, they're competitive. And it's not like, the ISCA is biased towards those guys. I mean, EPI have been having a banner season this season, and I think they could end up passing them in the team points. I mean, these guys have been putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely putting in some moves here tonight with 5 laps to go. It is an EPI 1, 2, 3. I mean, if that's not their show, I don't know what is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be definitely a huge message sent out to the rest of the garage, and these guys are going to be, all the other teams are going to be pushed to try to do better. I mean, because these guys definitely seem like they're hitting on something. I'm wondering what next week's going to look like, though. Kansas is going to be an interesting one.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired, and you love to see it. I mean, you can't help but love the competition.
And you were commenting on how much DeCiani was struggling earlier today.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what changed.
I don't, the lap number, because he definitely ain't struggling now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. He's struggling to hold off his own teammate, Shane Parrish, right now. Parrish all over him.
Parrish is just trying to keep him honest. And Parrish has already talked to me. I think definitely DeCiani is going to have second place sewed up here, as we have 2 laps to go before this thing is in the books.
I don't know. I mean, Parrish has been the one that has been able to save tire all race long. But, yeah, I think you might be right. If DeCiani could just hold off Parrish, he's got second sealed up. As we're going to be coming down to that white flag. And there it is, white flag out in the air. Of course, we're watching
got her
second.
done.
Yeah, Gitter's got it. I mean, he's so far out. He's 4 seconds. He's in his own zip code. We're watching the race.
His name just kind of makes it just that much easier, too, right? Gitter got her done.
That's right. And there it is. Patrick Gitter, your winner here tonight. Matt DeCiani is going to finish in second place. Shane Parrish comes home in third. Brian Johnson in fourth. Kenny Powell finishes fifth. Josh Schaffner sixth. Randy Mullins in seventh. Alexander Carr, impressive eighth place finish. I think that's his best finish we've seen thus far. Ninth place, Jose Acosta, and 10th, Greg Wachinski.
11th is going to be Brandon Pasalacqua. 12th, J.C. Evans. 13th, Mark Sanchez. 14th, Darren Mullins, a lap down. 15th, a lap down, Ryan Strunk. Then you have Dave Hughes Jr., Chris Rivera, Paula Osen, Jordan Sellers, and Scott Naslin rounding out the 20-car field. With the countdown done, watching the burnout done by the leader, his celebratory proclamation. Once that's complete here, we will slip away, get a word from our sponsors briefly, come back with our post-race coverage.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. What a race we saw here at Dover. And, of course, we're going to be starting off our post-race show with Shane Parrish, who just had probably the best long-run pace out there all night. Shane, you got me.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I had a really good car, just babying the tires too much at the beginning there. Boy, that last run with 41, 42 to go, I knew I had to get it, and I was afraid I'd burn it up. Did a lot better than I thought I did. But congratulations to Patrick for his win. That's awesome. Matt, another teammate, awesome to get second place. We had Brian coming for us there, and I just said, oh, let's just stick right here and try to keep the draft going as much as we can and move forward and finish where we are. It's all about team, not about spots at this point when you're in the top three. But had a blast out there tonight, man. It was a lot of fun. Passed a lot of cars. It's just great.
Yeah, definitely looked like you guys were really, really quick out there for sure. And I was wondering about that. I mean, you seemed like you were putting a lot of pressure there on DeCiani. So the thought never crossed your mind to try to pass him?
Well, I'm not going to say it didn't cross my mind a couple of times when he got tight in center and I backed out, but no, it wasn't worth it. I mean, we get up there and just touch a little bit. One of us is in trouble. Anything can happen at that point. Or we let Brian get underneath of him. We don't finish in the top three. To me, it was all about EPI and being the top three tonight, not just about me.
Well, you guys definitely succeeded in that regard for sure. I mean, this is going to be definitely a message sent. I mean, we always hear about that, oh, G&G's always, something biased about G&G. But I'll tell you what, you guys have been showing that's not the case. You have definitely stepped out onto the scene and have really been showing out. I mean, what do you think this does for the future here? Especially Kansas coming up next week. I mean, I think that's going to be a teamwork track as well.
Yeah, Kansas will be a teamwork track. Very hard to pass there. Top line track. I'm not so good there, so I may not be close to the top five there. That's one of my worst tracks. But I'm going to practice hard, see what we can get, and we'll bring EPI hopefully up into the top three again next week.
Now, hold on a second. I heard you when you were talking to Big Al earlier. You said this is one of your worst tracks. I mean, what's your good track, Shane? Because you seem like you do good at these tracks.
I don't have a lot of good. I mean, Phoenix. There's several Richmond. There's several tracks that I just absolutely love. Iowa. But I've been learning a lot on these tracks that I'm really horrible at. I've been getting faster, more consistent each week, thanks to Conti and all the guys from EPI have been helping me out when they can, and just learning how to do little tweaks on the setups here and there, which still got a lot to learn. But I come in here really slow, but I'm firing off really fast here the past 4 races, and I'm really happy with the performance of, my Mars car and EPI on there. I'm having so much fun. I can't say enough. You guys do a great job up there in the booth.
We definitely appreciate that for sure. You definitely put on enough of a show that it made it really easy for us there, Shane. And congratulations on the 3rd place finish. Who could we give a shout out to, bud?
Well, I want to give a shout out again to EPI, Mr. Conti, all the guys that helped me out here and give me little tips and tricks. Matt gave me a few there. Brian, listening to everybody talk in the room, just listening to Patrick, caught on to a few little things here and there and what to do, and kind of implemented it there to get a little faster on the first quarter of the run. It helped. Still not where I need to be, but we'll keep plucking away at it.
Well, you're definitely getting there for sure. We can see the growth in you for sure. And that 66 machine you've been putting on quite the performance every week for sure. Wouldn't be surprised to see you maybe in victory lane here very, very soon. I do believe you've already gotten your first win, haven't you?
No, I was going for the pass on the last lap, and we got together. Scott and I got together a little bit, and I got loose.
That's right.
Yep. I could have won that race. I did have a little bit faster of a car, but I just got loose, and he was tight, and we both just racing for the same position, and it happens. It's just fun to be there in the top 5. Most of my career, I've been top 50, back 15th back. So feels really good to get with EPI in the last 3 months and grow that I've grown.
I'll tell you, you've definitely, I think you're going to be in victory lane sooner than you probably think. Maybe even next week, Shane. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, you guys have a great night. Keep up the great job. Kenny, thanks again for the league. Do appreciate it.
Alrighty, that was Shane Parrish, our 3rd place finisher. Next up, Big Al is standing by with Matt DeCiani. Where did he come from?
Matt DeCiani, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
You are definitely the biggest mover tonight, starting this thing all the way back in 13th and battling back through basically all types of oppression. So let's talk about the first 2 stages. What was going on right there with your number 1 Chevrolet in the first 2 stages?
Yeah, first stage. Well, it started in Q. I decided to move the turn 4 wall like 5 feet further to the right. On my 2nd lap, I was trying to give Patrick a run for his money, but didn't smoke the wall in qualifying, and started in the back. And then it's clean air is everything here, and I'm sure you'll hear Patrick talk about this later. But I mean, it means so much here, and I just burned my shit up the first time, and then ironically I had a phone call. I was on the last 15 laps of stage 1, so I was just trying to limp it to the caution. But I don't even know what happened in stage 2. But just finally got track position, clean air, and we were strong all day.
So when the last caution came out right there at the end of stage 3 and it kind of split it, what did that do to your strategy? Did that actually play into your strategy, or were you actually hoping that it would have stayed green?
It really didn't change much. I mean, I think all 3 of us wanted it to stay green. But I mean, it really didn't change anything in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it happens, and I was more or less worried about another yellow coming out, and I didn't think anyone had any tires left, but if someone did, they were gonna be the car to beat.
So let me ask you this question. Had that caution not come out, were you guys actually prepared to run that last 90 laps all the way through?
We talked. I think Shade was gonna do it. I honestly do. Me and Patrick were on the plan that we were gonna stop. But yeah, I guess we don't know because it didn't happen.
And what lap would you have stopped on?
Probably would have stopped. I think what was that 90 laps? I was probably gonna come around 210, probably.
Okay, well, good deal, man. It was an awesome race there. Great showing for not only you guys as a crew, but also as a team there for EPI. So definitely happy for you guys overall with that. Next week we're headed into Kansas. What are you looking forward to there?
Yeah, Kansas. I'm terrible at Kansas. Probably is my worst track. Honestly, I don't know why. It's not any different than any other cookie cutter mountain has, but for some reason I struggle there. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll have a fantastic car. Uh, the team at EPI as a whole has been working fantastic the last week, especially. So I got a good feeling we're going to be strong next week.
Definitely giving us something to look forward to. Congratulations again for you for starting in 13th, bringing it home in second. Got to feel pretty strong about that. Can't wait to see you guys in action again next week, man. Before we let you go, who you shouting out tonight for your second place finish?
Yeah, shout out to you guys in the booth for calling the race, Kenny for putting on the league. I mean, you're gonna hear this over and over again. EPI, Michael Conti gave us a fantastic set. But yeah, I really want to call out Shane. Did a fantastic job today. I mean, I was doing everything to hold him off. I was really trying, and he could have probably got me if he wanted to. And then, shout out to Patrick. Patrick has been killing everyone this week, and honestly, he's probably one of the best drivers on the sim that's not a Coke driver. I mean, he's had ridiculous speed this week and every week lately, so it's good to see him execute and get this win.
Roger that, boss. As I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you here next week.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, our second place finisher. Of course, our next driver we're going to talk to is the best driver that's not in the Coke Series, Patrick Gitter. Great job to you, Patrick. I mean, you led the majority of this race, led 220 laps. I mean, the only two leaders we saw tonight were you and Josh Schaffner. I mean, what preparation went into this? I mean, I know you had a really good setup underneath you, but I mean, did you how many laps do you think you turned this week? Maybe not in preparation for this race here, but I mean, of course, repetition always helps.
Yeah, I mean, early in the week it was probably turned a few hundred laps in practice trying to get down the long run speed, qualifying, all that. But what makes the preparation so much easier, I mean, week to week is just the guys on our team. I mean, just I can't thank Matt and Shane enough. Just in the race, man, we had great communication. Guys on our team at EPI we started working on this thing, a few days before the week even started. We were really strong at Dover last season, and assumed, really expected to carry that over this week, and we've seen it. So it's we kind of expected to have some speed here this week. It's been one of the tracks we've been pretty dominant at. So I'm glad we're able to execute. Like what Matt said, able to show out, and just proud of the guys tonight for having a strong finish.
Yeah, you definitely ought to be proud. Definitely a 1, 2, 3 for sure. You've sent a message to everybody out there, and you've even probably sent a message to some of your own team members as well. I mean, with how dominant you were out there, I mean, you kept that track position for so long, and you even were battling with Josh Schaffner quite a bit. I mean, I was kind of concerned. I was like, maybe Schaffner's pushing him to burn his stuff up a little bit more than he should, but it didn't seem like that was actually the case. So, fantastic job. I mean, Dover is quite a tough track to actually get a handle on. I mean, where do you rank this track, you think, your best tracks?
This one's up there at the top. I happen to have some pretty good luck here last season. It's so technical. I mean, I come from a lot of short track stuff, so I before I got big into the A Open or next gen cars, I was big into the tour mods. And so just I think having that short track experience helps here, because you're driving a lot more on the right rear here than you are a lot of other tracks. So it's helpful. But to your point, man, Josh was super fast. I knew he was going to have speed at the end. Josh and Brandon, I mean, it was I was battling with those two guys in stage 3 there in that first green flag run we had. I mean, it was clean air is so important here. So I was trying to make a decision, like, how hard are these guys going to push me? How hard do I want to race them? And at what point do I let them by? Clean air here is huge. And so that was just a decision to make. Luckily it worked out, but man, I'm proud of our guys tonight. I mean, Matt and Shane worked so well together. honestly, the only reason we went 1, 2, 3, I think, was because Shane, he made a call to help the team. He was up there with Matt, said he was going to stay in line, and just try to push us through for everyone to have a podium finish. So shout out to him, proud of Matt. Looking forward to next week at Kansas. Put some practice in, and we'll see if we can bring another fast car.
100%. Kansas definitely going to be an interesting track for sure. Mile and a half. Much different here than Dover. And I am actually shocked to hear you say that Dover kind of applies to the short track logic because, I mean, this place is so unique. But definitely great job to you, Patrick. I mean, love to see what you're able to do out there, and clean air definitely was important. I have one last question. We heard DeCiani kind of allude to this, that you guys didn't have tires left. Now, I thought that was the case. What would have happened if another caution had came out and someone maybe did have a set left?
That they would have been in good shape. So yeah, you're right. We did not have a set left. I think a lot of guys were probably in their last set, unless there were one or two that were a lap down and just were rolling the dice. But also, I mean, part of that too was that's such a challenging situation because that last run we had 40 laps, and if you run too hard, you're on your last set of tires, you run too hard, caution comes out with 15 to go, then you're kind of screwed. You've burned
Yeah.
your tires up too much, and the guys behind you are going to have a better run if they've saved at that point. So, I mean, it's a roll the dice, and I had that in the back of my mind. I was like, how hard do I want to push this thing? But once we got to about 10 laps, 8 laps to go, I was starting to get a little more comfortable with it. And I was like, all right, I think we got this thing. So it just worked out, man. But to your point, if caution would have come out with 10-5 to go, it might have been a little more more challenging of a finish, a little more exciting there at the end. I'll say that.
Well, I say it was still pretty exciting nonetheless, but we definitely appreciate. I appreciate you humoring me with the extra questions there, Patrick. Excellent job. I know like Matt said, we're gonna probably hear the same thing again. Who can we give a shout out to?
Man, I know, right? Again, just gotta shout out. Really, my teammates here tonight, Matt and Shane, worked together. I mean, just it's hard to get a podium finish with teammates like that. So shout out to them. Shout out to EPI. I can't thank our teammates and Michael Conti enough for the set they've given us this week. I mean, we've been rolling in officials. It showed in the race here tonight. And then also just some of our other sponsors. I mean, Martin PC. They offer some great accessories, computer builds. I'm a big Chevy guy, so got to give a shout out to this Heartbeat of America Chevrolet for bringing it home tonight. And just shout out to you guys too for running the broadcast, Kenny for running the league. This is I haven't run a ton of races in this league yet, but I've really enjoyed it so far. So looking forward to coming out to some more races.
And we definitely enjoyed having you, Patrick. And thanks for your time. And hopefully we'll see you next week in Kansas.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, our winner here tonight for the Farmers Insurance 250, and what a race it was. I mean, it was a lot of drivers had some very much up and down days, but looks like guys were able to recover as well. I mean, I do want to give a big shout out to Brian Johnson. I know he started up kind of close to the front, was up in the top 5 quite a bit here tonight, but then also fell back outside of the top 15. Kenny Powell as well. I mean, he fell outside of the top 15 all the way back, I do believe, the 16th or 17th. Finished in 5th. Of course, Josh Schaffner, he was the only other driver that led laps here tonight. Patrick Gitter was so dominant. But final thoughts, Big Al.
Final thoughts, Dover, Miles, monster. Mile. I mean, yeah, it was just an awesome show, man. It was a true battle of grit, wit, and luck. I mean, that whole last caution coming out, I think it really did change the landscape. I would have loved to have seen how this thing would have played out had that green flag would have continued to wave here and would have been able to experience some drivers pushing it to the end and some drivers actually having to come down pit road just out of, pure necessity. But I tell you what, it's behind us now, Brian, and I'm excited to see what Kansas holds in store for us.
Yeah, 100%. Kansas, of course, mile and a half track, very unique as well. Just considering Top Groove is usually more of the place you want to be, especially on the longer run. Can't wait to see what that looks like for sure, and see what EPI, G&G. I think this has got to have a head-to-head battle for almost the soul of the series here, and can't wait to see what that looks like. I love that we're seeing this competition. I mean, it warms my heart. We get to watch this, and it's so exciting to see these guys really showing up and putting on such fantastic performances. I think this is going to be a message sent. I think message has been delivered. I think a lot of these drivers are going to be like, hey, we got to rise to the occasion. These guys are whooping our butts. And you love to see it.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired. I'm telling you, Kansas is going to definitely be the site of the OK Corral for sure. But, of course, we're not done with Dover yet. Saturday comes up, and we're going to be going live around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the broadcast or the race itself will go green around 9:30, a little after that. We'll be right back at Dover for another 250 laps, and we'll have to see who comes out on top with that one. Definitely going to be a whole new cast of characters as well. I do got to say, I know Chris is probably not going to like me for this, but I wish he had actually tried to finish this race. I'd love to see him out there duking it out with these guys. Chris Severa, always the dominant figure in Saturday. I was hoping we'd see that dominant here tonight, but that was not the case. But either way, hopefully he has a good night, and hope everybody that tuned in has a good night as well. We definitely appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everybody out there that participated. I mean, it's always so much fun to watch all this competition. I mean, these guys put on a show on these Thursday series every week, and Kansas, I think, is going to be no different. Well, we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series. We'll see you on Saturday.